Mr. Blue Sky, a tune known and loved the world over for its happy, upbeat vibe and bouncy beat. It's pretty much impossible to be grumpy when Mr. Blue Sky comes on. I dare you to try not to sing along. It's like sunshine in a song.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
But what if the man who wrote it wasn't so keen? It's hard to believe, but it's true. And why was it re-recorded over 30 years after its original release? And what if we were hearing one of the most iconic parts of the song completely wrong this whole time? Let's unpack everything to do with this song, and if you love classic rock stories like me, make sure you like the video and subscribe to join our pack. Yes, it's hard to believe, but Jeff Lynne, singer and primary songwriter of Electric Light Orchestra, may be one of the only people in the world that didn't love this song, or at least he didn't love playing it live. Lynne has openly explained that he was never satisfied with how the song sounded live, saying that they could never do it justice. It was always going to be hard to replicate the fullness of that sound, even with up to 7 people on stage. In Lynne's own words,
I didn't like it at all. The live sound, it was just not much fun for me, being the producer. On the record, there was 30-piece string section and probably a 20-piece choir on some songs. So that doesn't really add up to 2 cellos, a violin, and no choir. We were all doing our best. It sounded like as good as we could get it, but it was difficult, and especially in 10,000-seater places, where you couldn't really hear yourself either. So that was the early days of those big shows,
And it's a fair point. And as the producer, as well as the songwriter, you can imagine why it would be frustrating not to be able to do the song full justice. But presumably there were other things he didn't like about the song as well, as he re-released it in 2012 as a solo effort. But before we get into that, let's look at the song's origins. Now, Mr. Blue Sky was released as the second single on ELO's Out of the Blue album in 1978, and it was the 4th and final song on the 3rd side of the double album. That's a key point. We're going to come back to that later, so stay tuned. The origins of the song are simple. Lynne had booked himself into a luxurious chalet in the Swiss Alps to write material for the album, hoping to find inspiration in the sweeping views and dramatic mountains. However, that's not quite what happened. When he got there, he saw that the place was absolutely grey and overcast for the first 2 weeks, and he came up with absolutely nothing. There was no inspiration. And as a resident of the UK, I know that feeling well. Eventually though, the day came when the clouds cleared, the sun came out, and the sky was blue. Finally, having the inspiration he was looking for, Jeff Lynne immediately penned Mr. Blue Sky. And it's easy to see his mindset in the lyrics. Sun is shining in the sky, there ain't a cloud in sight, it stopped raining, everybody's in the play, and don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. And as we all know, the rest of the song goes along in the same sort of fashion. It's bright, it's sunny, it's just instant fun. The change apparently did the trick for the rest of the album too. I wrote Mr. Blue Sky and 13 other songs in the next 2 weeks. After returning from the Alps, the band recorded Out of the Blue at Musicland Studios in Munich with Lynne producing. So while it might be a straightforward song, it didn't need to be anything mind-blowingly complicated. It's simple, it's happy, it's easy to follow along. He even referred to it as similar to a nursery rhyme. What's surprising is that despite being arguably the band's signature song and featuring in countless movies and covers, it didn't exactly smash the charts at the time of release. It was released separately in the UK and the States, with keen audiophiles noting that the UK release apparently had much better audio quality. Now, this staggered release might explain why the song charted better in the UK than the US. When the single version was released in January 1978 in the UK and EU, we were in the middle of a typical cold grey winter. An upbeat song about blue skies was always going to be welcome, and it was, hitting number 6 in the charts. However, that version wasn't released until June in the US, who were in their summer already. Some people claim this could could be why it didn't do quite so well, as it only hit number 35 there. Others point at a bit of a mess at the time that was going on with the changing record label. Still not bad, but actually not one of their more successful songs at the time. Regardless, it went on to be huge. It's featured in more films and TV shows than you can count, such as Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Who, and I'll tell you what, as someone who used to work in the radio industry, as soon as spring starts springing in this country, that song gets put into heavy rotation on a lot of stations. It's all about the mood that sunshine brings to people, and that song encapsulates it so well. Now, at the time of release, lots of people noted its similarity to several songs by the Beatles. It actually shares a chord structure with Yesterday, and has similarities to other songs such as I Am the Walrus and A Day in the Life, unusual structures and all of that. Some people have criticised this, but Lynne has no problem admitting he was influenced by the Beatles, which is fair enough. They're quite a good band after all. Some fun facts about Mr. Blue Sky: in the original recording, there's an odd percussion instrument that's hard to identify. It sounds like a cowbell, but it's not a cowbell. Percussionist Bev Bevan eventually explained that it was literally a fire extinguisher he was hitting with a drumstick. Mr. Blue Sky is also included in what some call the blue streak, Lynne's apparent fondness for the word blue. He's written loads of songs with the word blue in the title. Midnight Blue, Birmingham Blues, Bluebird is Dead, Boy Blue, Bluebird. Even the promotional release of Out of the Blue were released on blue vinyl. But why? Well, maybe it has something to do with his favourite football club, Birmingham City FC, who wear, a blue kit. In fact, the club plays Mr. Blue Sky as their anthem at every home match, which is a nice touch. Later, Lynne re-released the song as a solo effort in 2012 with some quite notable changes. The entire last chorus and Concerto for a Rainy Day ending were removed, reducing the song to a more radio-friendly length from its original 5+ minutes. Lynne said that he removed that ending because he had done it as part of a sort of suite on that original album, and it didn't seem right to include it as a standalone re-release, which makes a lot of sense. Now, in general, this re-release is agreed to be an improvement. The sound quality is brighter, it's clearer, and Lynne himself says he's much more satisfied with the overall product. He simply wanted to see what he could do with the song, and others, with his increased experience as a producer, saying that he had thought the original sounded better at the time, but could now be improved on.
What happened was I started to hear him on the radio, if you have the car radio on or something, and I thought it sounded better than that, This is like, for the last few years I've thought this, and I've gone, I don't know about that. It's a bit woolly, and there's not enough punch, and the piano's too dry, just things like that, I got, my voice is too thin or something. There's always something I find to pick a fault in, So I thought, I'm going to do Mr. Blue Sky again to see what it sounds like now after 30 years of more practice at producing. And so I just lay a click down and start building it up. Play all the instruments myself because I love doing that. I love to be a one-man band. That's one of my favourite things in the world. And I played it to Craig. I finished it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And he said, it sounds much better. Try another one and see how you get on.
In the end, the 2012 Mr. Blue Sky appeared alongside other remastered hits such as Evil Woman and Don't Bring Me Down on the album Mr. Blue Sky, The Very Best of Electric Light Orchestra. All tracks on the album were recorded and produced by Jeff Lynne, which is quite a feat if you think about it. Now, the re-release sparked a new wave of interest in the song, seeing it suddenly appear everywhere again. But in fact, it had been in the works as far back as 2003, when another version appeared in a famous VW Beetle advert, causing a spike in popularity for years. And there's one other notable change on that re-release version as well. With the original ending being cut, we lost that absolutely iconic, digitally garbled Mr. Blue Sky message. Except, that's never what it said. Yeah, believe it or not, if you listen carefully, it actually says, "Please turn me over." If you want to really confuse your brain, try reading the words Mr. Blue Sky as you listen. And then again with Please Turn Me Over. I mean, that is freaky, right? Remember when I said it was the last track on the third side? The message is literally an instruction to turn over the vinyl to listen to the next side. How cool is that? Jeff Lynne actually confirmed this all the way back in 2012, but it recently went viral after a video appeared on TikTok and has blown people's minds. It's a great example of the Mandela effect in music. If you were to ask any random person what that message at the end said, they'd probably confidently tell you, Mr. Blue Sky. They'd probably even imitate the electrical voice, which is achieved with a machine called a vocoder. But it never said that, so you can add that to your pub quiz knowledge. Another thing to add to your pub quiz knowledge, you know in the song Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, they sing about a boy from South Detroit. Turns out South Detroit doesn't actually exist. In fact, there's a fascinating story behind the creation of that song. I've made a whole video on it. You can click over there to watch it next.